Welcome back. Now we're going to be talking something very interesting, cultural intelligence and its impact on brands. And Ifedaya Dele is here with me. How are you doing?
Fine, thanks for having me.
Cultural intelligence, for those of us that are trying to understand.
Okay, so it's mostly, let me start with culture. So usually we accept culture as sort of like a definition of people's perspective, their attitudes and how they live and their lifestyle, things like that. But it has sort of expanded into how we understand problems and how we can solve them. So for instance, like you already discussed before, so we're talking about, for example, the Zoomers, those referred to as the Gen Z.
Gen Z, yeah.
So now we know we're talking about the digital age. But then we also need to go way more in-depth to understand, okay, so when we're talking about the Gen Zs, how would you compare a Gen Z in Lagos to a Gen Z in Ondo State, to a Gen Z in Kwara and all those places? So that's basically trying to understand the culture.
Yeah.
Then the intelligence refers to the data itself. So how would you use that data you've collected to understand the culture and use that to apply solutions to the problems you already identified?
That's very interesting because we always say that, Nigeria is almost sort of data empty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody seems to care sometimes. Those who care can't find anything.
Yes.
So how is this working and how important is it, for brands, for governments, for just, the way the world is shaping now?
Okay, so with what we realized last year with the pandemic, so we already know like a lot of things has changed. We say, okay, everything has sort of moved online, either with booking, work, operations, how people shop now, a lot of things has changed. So for brands, you're looking at how do I market better to people I'm trying to talk to? What are the products they are looking to buy from me? And now what are the places to reach them? It's the way we refer to like a drive time in Lagos. So we already identified, okay, if I want to talk on radio to people, we know morning or late in the evening is the best time you want to talk to them because that's the time they are available to sit and listen to you. But then, how would you compare that sort of data to those in a different state? Does drive time matter to them? Or is it better to talk to them in the afternoon? That's for brands. So for government, you're also looking at how we've been talking initially, talking about unemployment in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Now, we've talked about how everything is digital now. So you're looking about, talking about digital skills in a place like Lagos. But then you see a lot of more rural areas talking about just simple Microsoft skills, just CorelDRAW, how to use the MS Word document. But then you're also trying to identify the markets that are available for them to do things like that. So that's just a simple thing. But over here, you're talking about high cloud engineering, you're talking about social media marketing, you're even talking about content creation. And the funny thing you see is the way we have grown so interested in content creation in many urban cities, some places they don't have access to that sort of thing. You don't have the data for it. You don't have the phone for it. So how do you use that opportunity to create jobs? Because yes, these are the same sort of people, secondary school students, who go to other schools to perform drama, to do storytelling and any other thing they can use to make money.
Yeah.
So how do you transition that sort of skill into creating jobs for them in other avenues?
Yeah. I think we'll be joined by Franklin Ozekome, online, who's the head of group strategy at Insight. Franklin, if you can hear me, I want to talk, brands now. And, from those looking from the outside, Nigeria seems like this homogeneous unit. It's a black nation. But we here know how diverse and crazy it is. The North is different from the South. The East is different from the West. Even within the West, Lagos is different from Ekiti, So how are you able to sort of work around, this with regards to sort of working with brands? And how hard is it to gather this data and how important is it?
Thanks, Oka. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Go on.
Great. Yes, I think the best way to do that, we've done a lot of work like that for clients when they try to identify the different behaviors, especially in the North and South for across industry segments. The key way to do that is usually to look at, to develop cultural profiles for them, because data is good on the one hand, but you also need to be able to localize what that data is saying, depending on the context where you see those consumers. For example, even in different parts of the North, between Kaduna and Abuja, for example, there are different behaviors, mindsets, and attitudes. So if you're even talking about the Northern consumer, there are various things, there are various initiatives that clients have to do, that have to be customized for those markets. So I think the key way to look at that is how do you engineer authenticity and simplicity in engagement? So if you're talking to the Southern woman, for example, what are the local nuances, the language, the behavioral connotations that can inspire her or move her to behave in a certain way or to purchase a certain product. And those are the ways we look at it from a data mindset. We gather those data, but the key thing is, how do you localize it? How do you contextualize it? What does it mean for a particular brand in a particular category? Let's say you're talking for a soft drink brand in CSD, and you're looking at a mobile and telecoms brand. There are two different mindsets, even they are trying to talk to the same consumer. So cultural profiles is the best way to look at attitudes, mindsets, and the thing that is driving them to behave in a certain way and particularly purchase their products and services.
Did the pandemic sort of affect, how brands are viewing sort of this cultural intelligence? And in what way did it?
Very much so. Very much so. We're like 5 months now into the new year. Brands are still reacting to what has happened last year. Again, that's where research comes in. Research always comes from a perspective of hindsight, which is what has happened. What cultural intelligence does for you, it tells you what will happen. And brands need to be able to straddle that center where I have research, I understand what has happened the past 7 days, the past 2 hours, a few minutes ago, but in understanding trends and how it's evolving, I can understand and feel the pulse of what I need to do. So I'm more proactive rather than reactive. And that's where we're talking to clients now. So we try to be more proactive in understanding the pulse, the attitudes, the mindsets, the culture of these various target audiences taken at the north, the south, the east, and then trying to say, what can we do particularly for these people across regions? So what it means is campaigns cannot be one standard anymore. I cannot do the same campaign and carry it across and put it pan-Nigeria. What I have to do is, as long as it's had a certain meaning, can I customize it for the Lagos guy? And even in Lagos, we're talking Victoria Island, Lekki, Surulere. These are still different mindsets there. So we're now doing what we call customized behaviors and profiles. And that's the lesson for us going forward. We can't do a one-size-fits-all approach and solutioning.
Well, thank you very much, Franklin Ozekome. Let me just round it up very, very quickly with you, if I have 30 seconds, if you can. Is it possible to run a brand without, proper cultural intelligence? We see a lot of these brands internationally coming to Nigeria. Along the way, they start selling moi moi and jollof rice, things that never happen in their other brands internationally. Is it possible to be successful as a brand without cultural intelligence?
No, it is not.
Yeah.
So let me just give an instance. So we had there was a meeting I was invited to, and a lady said she was looking to market in Ekiti State to sell new drugs in Ekiti State. And the strategy there just said, okay, we need to go fully on digital. That is definitely going to fail. Because if you're looking to target just people between 20 and 50 in Ekiti State and you're going strictly digital, it is not going to work. That is what you would have had with cultural intelligence. Yeah. So that's basically the benefit. You cannot do well without it. Thank you very much for joining us today, and thank you, my God, Franklin. It's a conversation I think we'll probably have to come back to and talk about much later, but thanks for joining us. Well, like I always say, you can follow the conversation on Twitter. Rubbin Minds now is the handle. Please use the hashtag Rubbin Minds when you tweet at us. Do have a great week, and I'll see you next Sunday.